It was late evening when David, a struggling single dad, drove down the rain-slicked country road. His old pickup rattled under the weight of groceries for his young son, Lucas, and the hum of the engine was the only companion in the dark. The storm had started suddenly, the sky a furious gray, and every turn in the road seemed more treacherous than the last. That's when he saw her, a woman, soaked to the bone, standing by the side of the road with her car's hood open. Water pooled at her feet, lightning reflecting off the wet asphalt. David's instinct kicked in immediately. He pulled over, leaving the engine running, and jogged across the road with his coat over his shoulder. "Are you okay?" he shouted over the rain. "Do you need help?" The woman looked up, startled, eyes wide, water streaming down her face. She nodded, fumbling with her car keys. My car broke down. I don't know what to do." David crouched beside the car, examining the engine. "Looks like a dead battery. I've got jumper cables. I can help you get to the next town if you want." She hesitated. "Thank you, she shivered violently. "Here, take my coat," David said, pulling it off and draping it around her shoulders. "It's not much, but it'll keep you warm until we get this fixed." She blinked, surprised at his kindness. You didn't have to do this." David shrugged. "Anyone would. Kids, storms, it's what you do." With a few minutes of work, David managed to start her car again. She thanked him profusely, smiling despite the storm. "I don't even know your name," she said, extending her hand. David Miller. I've got a son waiting for dinner." "I'm Judge Reynolds," she said softly. "I should let you go now. You've done enough." David froze for a moment but didn't think much of it. Judges were just people, right? He nodded and climbed back into his truck, waving her off. "Drive safe. Don't get stuck again." The next morning, David's life took a sharp turn. He had an important court date, a dispute over his late wife's life insurance, the last remaining safety net for him and Lucas. He was nervous, hoping the judge would understand his situation. When he entered the courtroom, he froze. At the bench sat Judge Reynolds, the same woman from last night. She recognized him immediately, and her eyes softened as he approached. "Mr. Miller," she said calmly, "please have a seat. We're ready to hear your case." David's heart raced. He realized in that instant the fate of his family rested in her hands. He had treated her kindly, with no idea that she was the authority who could decide whether his family would survive the financial storm ahead. He presented his case as best he could, but the stress and fear were overwhelming. Judge Reynolds listened intently, her eyes never leaving him, and when he finished, she paused, considering. "Mr. Miller," she said finally, her voice steady, "I remember you from last night. You helped a stranger without hesitation, in a storm, with no expectation of reward. That tells me more about your character than any paperwork ever could." David swallowed hard, unsure what she meant. She smiled gently. "Your family deserves a chance. I am granting your claim. The insurance will be released immediately. You have shown integrity and compassion, qualities I respect greatly." Tears welled in David's eyes. Relief, gratitude, and amazement swelled in his chest. He stood, thanking her profusely. I don't know what to say, thank you truly." Judge Reynolds nodded. "You don't need to say anything, just continue being the father I know you are. That's enough." Outside the courthouse, David felt the weight of the past months lift. He thought back to the rain-soaked night on the road, to the simple act of offering a coat to a stranger. Who would have guessed that small gesture would touch the very person who held the power to save him and his son? He walked to his truck, looking over at Lucas, waiting patiently. For the first time in months, David felt hope instead of fear. He had done what anyone with a heart would do, and it had changed everything. The kindness he offered without thought had rippled back in the most unexpected, life-saving way. From that day on, David knew one truth clearly. Small acts of compassion could change lives. Not just the lives of those you help, but your own as well. And as he drove home with Lucas beside him, He felt lighter, braver, and more determined than ever to face whatever storms might come their way.